Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Chai Together. I am your host and founder, Pratibha Day. You are tuning in for your cup of courage, hope, and imagination today, hence Chai. Today, I have with me a very special guest, a really, really awesome speaker, a really awesome person, the professor of positivity, also known as Dr. John Gray. Hey, John, how are you doing?
Hey, Pratibha, how are you? Thank you for having me.
Doing good. I want to tell you guys a little bit about John. So Dr. Gray believes that everyone is a champion and that they have the ability to make a positive contribution to the world. Having come from humble beginnings and overcome many obstacles, he is able to encourage and inspire others to find and grow their resiliency muscle. I really like that. When did you come up with that?
My wife helped me with that one.
Cheers.
Shout out to the wife.
Shout out to Angie Gray in the house.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I'm lucky.
Yeah, you are. Let's start with your champion cap. Tell us about champion.
You know, I was doing some research, and being a motivational speaker, and I came across a quote by a French philosopher named Rene Descartes, and he said, "I think, therefore I am." And I always try to be creative, and it clicked. My thinking cap. This is my thinking cap. So if I think like a champion, therefore I am. So I try to integrate that into that Rene Descartes quote. So this is what I'm wearing. This is my thinking cap. It takes a little more to be a champion.
How many years has it been you've been wearing champion?
This is I started doing this in the summer. I started doing it in the summer, and I had a routine of me and my wife would walk every day, and we were in the park, and I was walking, and I take that as my spiritual meditation time. I also take the walking as my creative time. And it dawned on me, Nike was overdone. Everybody says, just do it. Wait a minute. It takes a little more. But Pratibha, doesn't it take a little more to do anything?
Yeah, it does.
A little more effort, a little more grit, a little more resiliency. And I'm like, wait a minute, I can roll with this. Yeah. But I'm gonna make champion give me some of those some
they need to.
They're gonna give me some money. Trust me. That's where I'm going big time. That's the end goal. Y'all gonna give me some money, champion. I'm coming for you, champion.
They will. You keep that goal in mind, honestly.
That's right.
When I was a child and I moved to the States, I used to wear Champion and Skechers, and that wasn't the hype. It possibly wasn't the best, but I wore like the average brands, like Champion, like it's cheaper, and I did. But it's really incredible that the word champion is more of a valuable word than to just the 3 words, I believe just do it is more of, okay, you've overcome, everything now, like you're resilient now, you just do it. But champion is like that growth aspect.
Yeah. It takes a little more. And what I did was I made an acronym out of it. Courage, hope, ambition, motivation, perseverance, inspiration, optimism, and then nerve. So I made an acronym out of the word champion, and that's and I take that to give a message of hope and inspiration to people.
Yeah, tell me more about nerve. Like you got nerve. Like
nerve is almost like you have the audacity.
Yeah.
People have told me when I was growing up what I would not be.
Yeah.
A lot of people told me what I wasn't going to do. I got left back in 8th grade. I was called stupid by my teachers. I was really put down a lot, but I held on to something. I had the nerve to want to be somebody, despite what I never saw. I never saw a degree hanging on my wall in my family. I never saw nobody with a cap and gown go walk across the stage. I never saw those things. I didn't really see success. I saw a lot of poverty. I saw a lot of misery. I saw a lot of people who had given up and just existed but didn't live. But I held on to something, and I had the nerve. Pratibha, I literally got cursed out by my foster father when I said I wanted to go to college and didn't want to sign up into the Marine Corps. And because I swore, I did. I swore over to go to the Marine Corps, but my guidance counselor, which is another story in of itself, and God bless this man in his memory, Mr. Friedman, he said, "No, you're gonna go to college." And when my foster father heard I changed my mind, he literally cursed me out and called me every name under the sun because I had the nerve to want to go to college. So it's that nerve. And you got to have that nerve and that will to say, you know what, despite what you think about me, I think otherwise. And my
Hey.
otherwise out overrules your otherwise.
So I have a question for you. Do you find the military to be an easy out for people, a route where, it's just easy to just, go, not choose the college option from your perspective?
Honestly, and I am from, because I ended up going into the Army. So I
Yeah.
am former military. I did
Mm.
6 years in Army Reserves. I did my basic training at Fort Jackson, and my advanced training at Fort Leonard Wood. So I think for especially for people of color, poor
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
it's the escape route. Because the
Mm.
reason I wanted to go to the Marines in the first place, because I wanted to get out of Newark, New Jersey. I really did.
Yeah.
I was tired of looking at Newark.
Yeah.
I love my city, but guess what? It was hard growing up in Newark. It was hard living in that city.
Yeah.
It's hard being poor in the inner city and you see no opportunity, so you want to get away. So to a lot of people, it's not so much the patriotic thing, and I'm just being 100% honest. It's not so much you feeling patriotic. We just
Mm.
want to get away to get out, maybe see the world, maybe get some benefits out of it. And and plus my family, my grandfather served in World War II. So
Wow.
so that kind of added into it as well.
Wow. Yeah. So for the audience, John and I both live in New Jersey, but different parts, but definitely not Newark. So
Yes,
I want to dig deep into your foster care story. Do you mind sharing some of that with us?
absolutely.
The beginnings of it, how you ended up there. Hmm.
Well, my mother she died at when I was 7 years old. She
Yeah.
had breast cancer, and I'm the youngest of nine. And I
Wow.
vividly remember that last day she went to the hospital, and I shared the story when we were in Georgia. You know,
Yeah.
that brown sedan, state of New Jersey car with the state of New Jersey seal on the side, split up my family, and even to this very day, my brothers and sisters and I have never shared time under the same roof.
Wow.
We've never been together as a family under the same roof, never. And so that started the foster care system. And when you go to the foster care system, is a coin cost. I mean, it's a coin cost. You don't know who you're going to get. You might get somebody who's loving, who's kind, who wants to do the right thing. Then you might want to get some. Then you might get somebody who sees you as a means of income, and you're a means to an end to supplement their income. And that's what I found. That's what I got. I was the foster kid. So that sent that whole thing spiraling.
How are you doing now? Do you feel you've overcome those traumas and healed from your childhood, like your inner child?
Honestly, I am saying I am healing.
Healing,
People
yeah.
don't understand the
Mhm.
magnitude of childhood trauma.
Yeah.
I teach a course because I'm also a professor at Stock University, and I teach
Yeah.
a course called community schools as urban change agents, and I
Mhm.
talk about urban education and urban communities as it relates to a child's development, and I talk about the ACEs quiz,
Mm.
adverse childhood experiences. And this is a quiz that they give children, and it's 10 questions. The higher your A score, the higher you have a propensity for health problems, for incarceration, addiction, all kinds of things, the higher your A score. Pratiba, I scored 10 out of 10 on the A score.
Wow. You're a
So I'm not, you can't just walk away from that much trauma and then just say, okay, no, it's a journey. It's not a destination. We're always growing. We're always developing. But some
Mhm.
people, especially in the Black community, don't talk about that stuff. We don't put
No.
our family business out there. And I'm sure there's
Yeah.
other communities that do the same thing. But especially in our community, it's like, that's family business. We don't talk about family business.
Yeah.
For example, when I wrote my book, Quitting,
Yeah.
my brothers and sisters actually called me and were upset with me that I talked about family business.
Do you have the book on you? Yeah, you do. Show the book. Is that it? Yeah.
Quitting was not an option. A
It's
journey of
amazing.
perseverance and resilience. This
For
is
those of you watching, it's had great reviews. People have cried. Like, highly recommend. I will get it myself too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go on.
And literally, and here's what I had to tell them. I said, let me ask you one question.
Mm.
I said, did I talk about what happened to you, or did I have to talk about what happened to me?
Wow.
I said, I was there when the things happened to you. I could have mentioned that. I said it wasn't my place to talk about what happened to you, but I have every right to talk about what happened to me. This
Yeah.
is my healing process. And they
Yes.
saw it differently. And they were like, oh wow, okay. And also, I said, if we don't start talking about these things, we're setting up generations that's coming after us to deal with the same stuff. And
Mm.
now we have seen it. I lost a nephew to he was killed in a drunk driving accident.
Wow.
He was the one driving drunk, and he was killed right in New Jersey on the Route 130 circle in Burlington, and he it was the manifestation of all the trauma he dealt with. So we have to realize that if we don't put the brakes on this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
it will produce over and over again in down the generational line.
Yeah, you know how we're studying TR Proctor and Gallagher, so how Bob Proctor says, it's suppression turned into depression, turned into dis-ease, into disintegration.
Yes.
It's true. We see it all the time, but most people don't admit it to themselves or don't want to believe in it. And the mental health stigma. Now people are talking about it. Me, I was born in 1993. I came to the States in 1999. And growing up, I was having mental health issues, but I didn't know the terminology for it. So it really needs to be taught more in schools and just talked about more in general. I want to ask you about that time that I know from your story where you called your father and you were going to go meet your father and what had happened then. Can you share with the audience?
Yes. At the time, I was living with my my grandmother. Once I had a few foster home stops, I had the opportunity to live with my
Mm.
grandmother. My grandmother honestly really did not want us there. She didn't want us there. It was
Yeah.
kind of the obligation, and I dealt with so much abuse there. And I said,
Wow.
I can't take it. I said, enough. So I called my father. And, I never really lived with my father, but he was my ideal. He was, when you're a kid, your parents are the ideal. So,
Yeah.
when you're in a situation where you're hurting, you reach for the ideal. So I said, okay, I get it. My father can come to the rescue, swoop me up, and
Um,
I'll be good. So I called him. And to my surprise, he said, yes, come on, live with me. I was like, what? Okay, let's go. 13 years old. This is my dream right here. My father said, come live with me. So
um,
my grandmother said to me, okay, you bye. It was that cold. It was the coldest thing. She ain't try to talk me out of it. She said, bye.
but first, she wanted to keep you, right? She didn't want you to be in foster home, but that turned abusive as well. Her.
Exactly.
Thing.
So here's what she said to me. This is how cold it got. She said, but you're not using it in my suitcases. I had two hefty bags with me. That's what I traveled with. Two hefty bags. I got to Penn Station in Newark. I was happy. First of all, I'm looking around because I'm like, okay, where's he at? Okay. I called.
Hmm.
He got on the phone. Hey, Dad, I'm here. He said, I don't know what you're doing here. I can't do nothing for you. Click. And that was that. Back in foster care. Back in foster care.
It's really unfortunate. More kids go through this than people can imagine. A lot of people aren't aware because their families, are better off that others go through this. So thanks for talking about it. So how old were you then?
13.
13.
13.
And back in foster care, you went through abuse again?
Well, here's what happened. I went to foster care, and then I lived with my aunt. My aunt was my grandfather. She's my great aunt, my grandfather's sister. So luckily, she let me stay there. So what happened was the state of New Jersey decided, because she was a relative, that they didn't have to pay her as much as they would somebody that was. They're like, well, your family. This is something you should do. And then I didn't help it. I didn't help matters either, because my aunt couldn't stand my father. I mean, and when I tell you, my family was like the Hatfields and McCoys. They had like this. I mean, it had like this crazy rivalry within the family that was split right in half on my father's side. So me wanting validation from my father, I was so sick of every day hearing about how awful my father was. And so I literally, I in my head seeking affirmation. You know, it is crazy the stuff we do seeking affirmation from people. We will debase and degrade ourselves to no ends to get affirmation for people. It's true. It's something that we look for affection in all the wrong places. So I forgave my father for the train station incident, and I thought he was getting his life together because my father was dealing with addiction. I didn't know he was high at the time when he said, "Come on, live with me." So that was my excuse to say I forgive you, because he said he was getting his life together, he's getting clean and all this stuff. So once again, my aunt plucked a little nerve and just gave me an excuse, because all I was looking for was an excuse. I want to go live with my father again. So I laugh about it now, but it wasn't funny. My aunt said, "Go ahead, but be careful what you ask for, because you might just get it." So my father picked me up. This time he had a car. I'm like, okay, it's progress.
He got a car.
Okay, progress.
Wow.
So he had remarried. So we drive up to this house in East Orange.
Yeah.
This house was huge. I'm like, okay, my dad is on his game. All right. I'm like, I mean, come on. Right now, I'm 15, turning 16. I'm hyped. And I'm like, wow, okay, my dad's on his game. I still remember the address. 1 University Place, East Orange, New Jersey. If you do a Google Earth, you can search that house. It's still there. It was a nice size house. So I thought my dad was on his game. What I didn't know was it was a rooming house, Pratiba. It was a rooming house. My dad didn't own the house. He was living in a rooming house. So when I got there, I had to wait on the steps while he haggled with the landlord for a good price for a room for me. I'm like, oh my goodness. So I'm in a rooming house. That lasted all of about a month, because my dad, after a week or so, got tired of paying rent for me. He said, I got to start pulling my own weight. And then one night when he was drunk, and like I mean, I say this because I love my father. We came to some understanding as I got older. I literally held his hand as he died. As he took his last breath, I held his hand as he died. So I say all this stuff because this is just a journey. And I look back at it now as a part of the growth of who I am. So one night my father was real drunk, and I always, ever since my mom died, you know how kids are back in the day. People used to talk about your mom, do the mom jokes.
Yeah.
When my mother died, that was John Gray's line in the sand. If you talked about my mother, you might as well prepare to let's do this. I don't care who you are. You're gonna get these hands. Do not talk about my mother. He said something about my mother. We literally fought like 2 grown men. And then I was in a shelter. I was taken by the authorities to Hayward House Shelter in East Orange. So I was literally in a shelter for 6 months with 16 other boys in high school until I got into another foster home. And that was the last foster home I was in until I graduated high school.
How was your journey, going to school while being, thrown around, like in foster care, in and out? Like, did you really feel like you had a home, like a permanent safe place, or no, ever?
You know what? It's so sad, but I learned to live life without expectations. I was like, okay, I just lived life on life's terms. And like, okay, I don't know what tomorrow, it is what it is. I don't know where I'm going to be. I mean, stuff happens. That it makes you real hardened to some degree. Like, you don't have to expectation. You can be here today, going tomorrow out of somebody's house. So I was like, whatever, it happens. Everybody's worrying about sports in the prom. And guess what? I played sports. I went to the prom, but I also had to do all of that stuff while trying to appear normal.
Yeah.
I didn't have the normalcy. I was going home living with, 16 other youth who was busy stealing each other's clothes at night
Yeah.
It was the craziest thing. So, but I just lived without those expectations, and I just tried to be as normal as I could.
Did you have any close friends, like a best friend to help you during that time? Who was your go-to? Did you have one?
No, I
Wow.
had a best friend, and right now we connect even today this day on Facebook.
Wow.
And I lost contact with him when I went
Mhm.
to the when I left my aunt's house, because when I
Mm.
was living with my aunt, we lived up the street from each other. But we reconnected, and we were really tight. But when I was at that foster, when I was in that shelter in East Orange, I kind of was like isolated. I didn't really have a lot of friends.
Wow. Yeah. Let's talk about the light in your life. Is it the professor that affected your life in the positive way? Told you go to college? Who is he?
I had a lot of them. Can I
Wow.
tell you? Going to Stockton changed my life.
Wow.
And at Stockton, because I went to EOF, I went to a program called EOF, Educational Opportunity
Yeah,
Fund.
I know of that. Yeah.
hmm And and Stockton gave me something I didn't have. They gave me like a family feel, and also it gave me the chance to reinvent myself. One of the things that I read a book called 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene, and he
Mm.
talks about one of the things that you have to do is be willing to reinvent yourself. Going to South Jersey in the middle of the Pine Barrens, I said, John, this is your opportunity to leave that stuff behind and reinvent yourself.
Wow.
So I kind of made every attempt to just be a normal college student. I still had all that stuff on me. I was actually homeless because my foster father in Newark said I was done. He like, okay, you graduated, bye. So I literally didn't have anywhere to go. But the faculty and staff at Stockton
Mm.
really came through to the point
Wow.
where they became those surrogate parents and mentors and people that I saw, especially the faculty of color, because I saw people for the first time with PhDs and accomplished people, and I was like, oh my gosh, this what that looks like.
For a
So
black.
it gave me something to shoot for.
Yeah.
It gave me something to strive for. And although I went to a predominantly white school, I felt like I had an HBCU experience because we were so close knit in our community.
Mm.
And the faculty of color would not let us fail. They were like, I mean, it was literally it was a mission for them. I think it was like a mission for them. Like
Wow.
like you're here, don't embarrass us, don't mess up. I mean, so they really pushed us to do our best, and I'm thankful for that. And ironically, I'm a professor now, Stockton now, so it's like I'm doing the
Yeah.
same thing. I'm
Tell us
giving
what
back.
you teach. Yeah, tell us what you teach. Yeah.
I teach organizational leadership. I teach in a doctoral program.
Wow.
I teach organizational leadership, but also Stockton, all professors are required to teach a general studies course, and
Mm.
therein lies where I really teach out of my passion as well with the community schools as urban change agents class.
Wow. I graduated with interpersonal communication and organizational communication, as I say that. So, but leadership is definitely something separate. And I do want to tell the audience that New Jersey is 93% of white, diversity wise. So it is a big deal for you to, like, it really is a blessing that, you found something on the other side of things. And were you also dorming there? Like, where did you live during college?
I stayed on campus, and the good thing about it is
Yeah.
because I didn't have anywhere to go my first year,
Mm.
Stockton allowed me to stay on campus. Like during the Christmas and New Year's break where everybody was going home,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
stayed on campus. So they
Aw.
allowed me to stay on campus, and then in summer they allowed me to stay on campus until I went to basic training because I did split option in the Army. So they
Wow.
really
Yeah.
helpful in that regard because, like I said, I mean, I really didn't have nowhere to go.
So that was mandatory for you at the time to go into the army because of that?
I chose to do that.
Yeah, you chose to.
I
It's
chose
not
to do that.
had to.
That was
Okay.
I was like, I need first of all, I wanted somewhere to go. And
Yeah.
secondly, I wanted to get the GI Bill, and I wanted to get the other
Yeah.
research along with it. So
Wow.
I'm glad I did. It was the best experience of my life. It
Yeah.
was the best
And it
experience
did
of my
teach you
best experience.
discipline.
Oh God. And I
Yeah.
needed that so bad. I needed that structure. I'm
Yeah.
I'm a boundaries person. and I know parameters. I really do. Listen. I'm not good left to my own devices. That's why I make sure I put boundaries around myself.
Wow. Wow. So tell me about, when did you really feel safe and where you felt like you had a home? Was that when you got your own place from the Army, or when was that for you?
I think
Mm.
I got my own place in 1990 for the first time,
Wow.
and I stayed because after my sophomore year, I stayed with a fraternity brother and all that kind of stuff in his family. Thank God to my frat brother, Iota Phi Theta. Shout out to Iota Phi Theta in the house. But honestly, I think my first feeling of feeling like I was actually safe, grown, and on my own was I was working.
Yeah.
I was 22 and I had my own apartment. Even though I
Wow.
was living with my fraternity brother, so we had our own place, and I was like, oh my God, this is what it feels like. I got my own spot. I'm not at the will of somebody else.
Wow.
Cool stuff.
Wow. When do
Mhm.
you feel your healing journey started? Do you feel like you started to heal more when you were on your own out of that, toxic environment? Like, when was it for you?
I think I started to heal once I got to college because what I realized is that I'm not by myself.
Yeah.
One of the things about trauma is that you feel isolated. You feel like you're on this island that people don't understand. And then once I got to a bigger circle, and
Mm.
there were people in college who were dealing with some same things, and we were just all just trying to make it, especially the students of color.
Yeah.
We were just sitting. We had this motto: "C's get degrees." We were just trying to. My undergrad was survival. It really was. It was
Yes.
survival. It was survival, trying to just make it. And so that's when I began to feel like, okay, I'm starting to get this now. I'm starting to get this. I'm starting my process of knowing who I am and trying to do the best I can and set my own course. That's how I started.
Wow. Amazing. This is a great story, like very inspirational. Tell me about the things you're working on now, and what is your big goal? What is the change that you want to see for yourself and for what you want to do?
Well, my C-type goal, and I tell people all the time,
Oh.
I'm,
Yeah.
that is that thing is the
You
results
have to
talk.
tell them what a C-type goal is for
A
those who
C-type
don't
goal is that
know.
goal that is so large it scares you to death.
Mm.
A goal that is just so out there that it makes you think twice. It makes you stay up at night. It really it invokes your passion, but it also invokes your fears as well. That C-type goal, is something that you can't just wake up out the bed and do. Like, for example, Fatima, you can get out of bed in the morning and somebody say, Fatima, can you talk and be on my show and talk? You can do that and not even think about it.
Yeah.
It's something you naturally do. Exactly. you know, Pratiba will listen, y'all. Pratiba will tear that room up.
Yeah. For those who haven't heard me, I got a power voice.
Yes, she does. Yes, she does. And she got a power voice. She got a power story.
Yeah.
So yes, she does. So Pratiba, that's something that you can just do
Yeah.
and not really think about. It's natural to you. But that C-type goal is that goal that really stretches you to your utmost capacity. My C-type goal by the year 2024, I want to be one of the top 15 motivational speakers in the world. That's
Wow.
my C-type goal.
2024?
2024.
Wow.
That's my C-type goal.
You got it.
When I go,
see it. Yeah.
when
No, I
I
just want to tell the audience. So I didn't know Dr. Gray until I spoke at the Georgia Summit, and he spoke there as well. For those of who you saw, those of you who saw that on Facebook. And when I first heard him, it really gives you goosebumps, and he's on fire. Like, it was like a standing ovation, and it surprised me. And it's just incredible that, when someone shocks you, you didn't expect it. It's like, wow. And I was like, he has to be on the Power Voice Summit. And then you did speak on Les Brown's Power Voice Summit. That was incredible. I manifested that.
Yeah. Amen. That's right. That's right.
I let John Tallarico know, you need to have him on the summit.
That's right. Think those things, speak those things that be not as though they were. It's all up in here.
Yeah.
It's the belief in yourself.
Yeah.
It's the unwavering belief in yourself. And guess what? The C-type goal will really it keeps you locked in on your purpose. It keeps you honed in. It keeps you focused on what's important. So that's what I'm working on. I'm working on another book.
Wow.
I'm working on another book. The title book is called Overcome Anything: The Power of Positivity and Resilience. We can overcome anything. Listen, people, I'm sure you heard about Mothers Against Drunk Drivers.
Yeah.
That was formed out of people's pain about mothers who lost their children to drunk drivers. They turned their purpose into pain. There's a woman in Congress right now, Cori Bush. She's in Congress. She lost her son to gun violence. People turn their purpose, their pain into purpose. We can overcome anything. We have that capacity. It's positivity and it's resilience. Don't feed into the fact that you got to be stuck in that pain. Turn your pain into your purpose. We can overcome anything. And Pratibha, you're a testament to that yourself. Look at the stuff you've overcome.
Yes. Most people don't realize it's just last year. My story is fresh last year and the last half year, how far I've come because of mental stability and resilience. So about what you're saying about resilience, I like to ask this question. How do you find resilience to be built? Like, do you find it to be necessary? It's only through hardships. Is that what you find it to be true?
You know what? Resilience is like in my bio, the resilience muscle.
Yeah.
The resilience isn't built. The hard times produces the resilience that's already in you. Resilience is built every day through the things that you do to prepare for the hard times. You know, when the hard times come, it only tests your mettle. It tests who you are, what's in you for real, for real. You know, it's like a tea bag. You know, you don't know how good that tea is until you put it in hot water.
Yeah.
And that's how we are. We don't know how strong we are until we put in some hot water. But the resilience is built up in that everyday inspiration that you walk in, that the little things you do every day to motivate yourself, to prepare yourself, to keep a positive outlook. Those is almost like you're in training, preparing for the fight and the hard part of the fight. But you've already done the training camp for the fight. You're prepared. That's the resilience.
Yeah, that's the first time I'm hearing that perspective. I really like it. For the audience, you guys like it? Comment. So can we find more of that in your first book? Quitting is not an option, right? On Amazon. Yeah. Tell us, when did you start writing that? Yeah, go ahead.
And you can find it right on Amazon. But also, if you go to my website, drjohnegray.com, I'll send it to you shipped, autographed, and it's reduced.
Wow.
It's a reduced price. But I'll send it to you shipped, autographed.
Yeah. So where else can people find you? Your website?
My website is drjohnegray.com. You can find me on Facebook under John E. Gray. You can find me I'm on Instagram and I'm on Twitter and I'm on Clubhouse as well.
Oh yeah.
And YouTube. I have a YouTube channel called The Power of Positivity.
Yes. Yeah. Show your resiliency muscle.
There you go. There you go.
Leave us with a really, really great quote that you really enjoy.
And this is a John Gray original.
Yeah.
Your passion is your permission to pursue your purpose.
Wow.
Your passion is your permission to pursue your purpose. The passion that you're giving, that's the universe's way of saying, yes, go for it. Be driven by your passion. Without being driven by passion, nothing is attained. But with great passion comes great purpose. Let your passion drive you. Your passion is your permission to pursue your purpose.
You know what? I could voice loop that all day. And voice loop is an app for those of you who don't know. That is just amazing. Your passion is your permission for your purpose.
To pursue your purpose.
Pursue your purpose. I apologize.
Yep, to pursue your purpose.
But because I really like that.
You got to hunt your ambitions down. You got to chase your goals down. You got to run them down. Les Brown said you got to be hungry. Guess what?
Yeah.
You got to be hungry. Chase your goals down. Make that stuff happen.
That reminds me, I want to ask you another question now. Who are one or more of the mentors that really help you maintain that drive? Mm.
You know, I've had a lot of people over the years to serve as mentors. Um, I'm gonna say this, and I'm not saying to get brownie points in the house, but my connection and relationship with my wife is my
Oh,
top driving force, because
wow.
not only is she my biggest cheerleader, she's my biggest motivator. And you know how you have one thing I know about my wife. I don't care if she's correcting me or she's getting on me or she's saying there's more in you, because sometimes the encourager needs encouragement themselves.
Yes.
This is the person who has my best interest at heart at every level. And I'm so glad I have that in my life, because some people don't have that, and I'm fortunate. I am fortunate that I have somebody who literally at every turn has my best interest at heart. So,
Wow.
so yes, I've had people who've been mentored to me. I've had people in ministry, because I'm a pastor as well, who've been my mentors in ministry. I've had people who've been my mentor on campus in terms of academia. But my greatest inspiration is right here under my roof.
Yes. You know, I wanted to bring her up, but I didn't. But I definitely know, I would love to, interview you both. Like, it's really a great duo. For those of you who don't know Angie Gray, Angie's going to come on too. And she's thanking you right now in the comments, if you can see.
Uh, you're welcome, honey. Brownie points, brownie points. Yeah.
Wow. But that's really incredible. And yes, she is the closest to you, so that's very important. Oh, I'm happy for you. But is
Thank
there
you.
anything else you'd like to share before we wrap it up?
I would just like to thank you for having me. Thank you for
Oh,
letting me share on your platform, and because I know your
yes.
platform is simply all about progress, positivity, moving forward, and being the best version of yourself. So I thank
Yes.
you for letting me be a part of that, and I'm glad that you've decided to be a part of my upcoming platform in February, March, where
Oh,
I
yes,
do
tell them. Mhm.
Power Talk.
Yeah,
Power
tell them
Talk.
a bit. Yeah. Tell them about Power Talk, what that's going to
Yes.
be.
I had a conference called Power Talk, Igniting Your Passion for Your Purpose. I did it live 2 years ago. Now, so with coronavirus, we couldn't do it live. So now I'm taking it virtually. So I have another one come up in February. Then I have another one come up in March. And that's one I asked you about, the one in March. It's called
Oh,
Power Talk, Igniting Your Passion for Your Purpose. And I have some great speakers coming on. It's a free virtual summit. And really, just my whole goal is to inject positivity and motivation and inspiration into the world. I have my goals are 3 words: to encourage, inspire, empower. That's how
wow.
to encourage, inspire, empower.
Wow.
And you'll be one of the ones who will be helping me do that. So I think
Yeah. I'm going
it
to be
will.
speaking, y'all.
So stay tuned.
I yeah, for those of you who don't follow John Gray on Facebook, follow him. I will tag him and show them your book once again. More centered, more centered. Quitting was not an option. A journey of perseverance and resilience. Okay, awesome. All right. Thank you for joining me, and thank you everyone for joining me as well. Until next time, much love and peace.
Thank you so much. Take care. God bless you.
Bye.